I'm Jessie Spano, and I'm so excited to bring you the stripped-out news brief for today's top stories. No sides, all facts. Let's dive in, shall we?
Welcome to the Stripped Out News Daily Podcast. Before we dive in, I wanted to let you know the Stripped Out News storefront is open and ready for business. If you want to support the project and get some premium gear, head over to strippedoutnews.com/merch. The vault is open. Wednesday, July 1st, 2026. From Supreme Court rulings, U.S.-Iran talks, birth tourism crackdown, and state fair reactions. Let's go. The Trump administration recently briefed lawmakers on Iran, with Representative Gregory Meeks, the top Democrat on the House Foreign Affairs Committee, sharing details about the discussions. Oil prices have taken a hit, marking the steepest quarterly loss since 2020, as traders keep a close eye on the ongoing U.S.-Iran talks. Over in the Middle East, Secretary of State Marco Rubio played a key role in a security framework agreement between Israel and Lebanon, a move seen as countering Iran's influence. Tensions in the region have been high, with allegations of attacks on commercial shipping in the Strait of Hormuz. The U.S. and Oman have been working on a new southern corridor, which has further complicated the situation. Progressive leaders are pushing for diplomacy, while conservatives argue that strong measures are needed to address Iranian aggression. The Israel-Lebanon agreement is a clear signal of the administration's strategy to limit Iran's regional power. All eyes are now on the next steps in the U.S.-Iran negotiations and how they'll impact both global markets and Middle East stability. Israeli Defense Minister Israel Katz recently criticized President Trump's administration, stating its policies prevented a military operation against Hezbollah in Lebanon. The defense minister asserted that President Trump exerted pressure on Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu during telephone calls. These calls reportedly occurred before the signing of a memorandum of understanding, which Katz claims ultimately stopped Israel from disarming Hezbollah. He suggested the U.S. linked the Iran and Lebanon fronts, a connection he believes prevented Hezbollah's collapse. This policy, according to Katz, forced the Israeli army to implement a Plan B. This alternative strategy involved pushing deeper into the Yellow Line zone, extending approximately 10 kilometers into southern Lebanon. Katz expressed regret over the U.S. linking the fronts, indicating it hindered Israeli security objectives. His statements highlight a significant point of contention regarding past U.S. foreign policy in the region. A Ukrainian drone strike hit a major Russian oil refinery on July 1st, sparking a massive fire and leaving at least 2 people dead. This attack is part of a broader strategy by Kyiv to target Russia's energy infrastructure, aiming to cut off funding for the ongoing war. Russian officials have confirmed the strike and admitted to facing fuel shortages as a result. The refinery is just the latest in a series of energy facilities hit by Ukrainian drones in recent months. These strikes are designed to disrupt Moscow's ability to finance its military operations and supply its forces. The conflict, now in its 5th year, has seen Ukraine increasingly focus on long-range attacks to weaken Russia's economic and logistical capabilities. The latest incident underscores the escalating tactics being employed by both sides. With no end in sight to the hostilities, the international community is watching closely as the war continues to reshape the region's geopolitical landscape. Amnesty International has released a new report detailing alleged crimes committed by Sudan's Rapid Support Forces in El Fasher. The human rights organization claims the paramilitary group engaged in crimes against humanity and ethnic cleansing during its seizure of the city last year. The report specifies allegations of murder, torture, rape, enslavement, and sexual slavery. These acts are described as part of widespread and systematic attacks against civilians. The findings add to previous concerns, as the United Nations had already indicated that events in El Fasher bore the hallmarks of genocide. This report underscores the severe human rights violations occurring amidst the ongoing conflict in Sudan. It is likely to intensify international calls for accountability for those responsible for these alleged atrocities. The international community continues to monitor the situation closely. The Great American State Fair kicked off in Washington, D.C. on June 30, 2026, to mark the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence. Organized by Freedom 250, the event features representation from all 50 states and 6 territories, though several states declined official participation due to cost concerns. Pennsylvania's delegation was organized independently after Governor Josh Shapiro initially expressed disinterest in state involvement. Controversy arose when Confederate flag imagery was removed from a North Carolina booth, sparking debates about historical representation at the fair. Media outlets have also clashed over the accuracy of crowd size estimates, with some emphasizing the event's celebratory atmosphere and others questioning its attendance figures. Attendees have noted that politics did not overshadow the festivities, focusing instead on the fair's celebration of American history and culture. President Trump has praised the event as a once-in-a-lifetime celebration, highlighting its scale and historical significance. The fair continues to generate national conversation, reflecting broader discussions about American identity and the role of government in commemorating historical milestones. The U.S. is gearing up for its 250th anniversary, and the mood is anything but uniform. On one hand, there's StoryCorps' Connect 250 project, which is recording conversations between strangers across the country to capture the national zeitgeist. These chats will be preserved in the Library of Congress, offering a snapshot of American life in 2026. On the other hand, new discoveries about the Founding Fathers, thanks to DNA testing and archival digs, are rewriting parts of the history books. Think Thomas Jefferson and George Washington in a whole new light. But not everyone's in a celebratory mood. Surveys show a lot of ambivalence, with some folks calling out the Trump administration's commemorations as too partisan, while others are just grateful for the freedoms the country offers. It's a mixed bag as the nation heads toward this big milestone. On July 1, 2026, the House of Representatives hit a major snag as conservative Republicans blocked a procedural vote to attach the Save America Act to the annual defense authorization bill. The proposed legislation, backed by President Trump, aims to require photo ID and proof of citizenship for voting, while ending mail-in balloting nationwide. The procedural rule vote failed 198-224, with 14 GOP members opposing the measure, effectively stalling progress on the $1.15 trillion defense spending bill. The Save America Act has been a contentious issue within the Republican Party, with the president arguing it's essential for election integrity. However, some Republicans, led by Representatives Anna Paulina Luna and Chip Roy, opposed linking the bill to the defense bill, citing concerns about its impact on voting rights and military funding. This internal dissent has left the House agenda in limbo, with no clear path forward for either piece of legislation. The gridlock underscores deep divisions within the GOP, particularly between leadership and hardline conservatives. While some see the Save America Act as crucial for election security, others worry it could alienate voters and complicate military funding. With the House at a standstill, the future of both the defense bill and the voting legislation remains uncertain, potentially impacting the upcoming midterm elections. The U.S. Department of Justice has directed federal prosecutors nationwide to intensify investigations. This directive specifically targets schemes identified as birth tourism. These schemes involve individuals traveling to the United States to give birth, aiming to secure birthright citizenship for their children. The department states these practices exploit the U.S. immigration system. Officials allege that such schemes frequently involve visa fraud and other federal crimes. The new guidance instructs prosecutors across the country to step up their efforts. This includes increasing both the number of investigations and subsequent prosecutions. The move signals a heightened federal focus on enforcing laws related to entry and citizenship acquisition. It is anticipated to lead to more legal actions against those facilitating or participating in these activities. The department's action underscores its commitment to addressing perceived vulnerabilities in immigration processes. The U.S. Supreme Court made 3 major rulings on June 30, 2026, addressing key issues in American law. First, the court rejected President Trump's executive order to end birthright citizenship, reaffirming that the 14th Amendment guarantees citizenship to anyone born in the U.S. This decision came after a legal challenge to the order, which was issued on the first day of Trump's second term. Second, the court struck down limits on coordinated campaign spending between political parties and candidates, ruling that such restrictions violate the First Amendment. This case was brought by the National Republican Senatorial Committee and could significantly alter how campaigns are funded. Third, the justices upheld state laws banning transgender athletes from participating in female sports, deferring to state authority on the matter. These rulings have sparked strong reactions, with progressives celebrating the birthright citizenship decision but criticizing the others, while conservatives have applauded the campaign finance and transgender athlete rulings. The decisions are expected to have lasting impacts on immigration, campaign finance, and state-level sports policies. The Supreme Court just made a major move, overturning a 90-year-old precedent that could change how executive authority and regulatory power work in the U.S. This decision, handed down on June 29th, is expected to have long-term effects on how federal agencies operate. In another notable ruling, the court declined to review a 2023 verdict that found President Trump liable for sexually abusing and defaming writer E. Jean Carroll, leaving a $5 million civil judgment in place. Meanwhile, the court's ruling on mail-in ballots has sparked debate, with some interpreting it as allowing ballots to be counted after Election Day. President Trump has called the Save America Act even more important following this decision. These rulings cap off a significant term for the court, with legal experts predicting more challenges to federal regulations ahead. The Supreme Court just made a major ruling about digital privacy and police surveillance techniques. In a 6-3 decision, the justices ruled that geofence warrants, where police can request location data for all devices in a specific area, count as a search under the Fourth Amendment. That means law enforcement now needs to meet higher standards to get this kind of data. The case involved a Virginia bank robbery, where police used one of these warrants to identify a suspect. Justice Elena Kagan wrote the majority opinion, saying people have a reasonable expectation of privacy when it comes to their cell phone location history. The court didn't completely ban geofence warrants, but they sent the specific case back to a lower court, with instructions to apply this new standard. This ruling could significantly change how police conduct digital investigations going forward. Privacy advocates are calling it a win for civil liberties, while some in law enforcement worry it might hamper certain types of investigations. The decision creates clearer boundaries for when and how police can access bulk location data from tech companies. Legal experts say this could lead to more challenges against other digital surveillance methods as well. The Supreme Court just agreed to take up a major voting rights case out of Arizona, one that could have ripple effects across the country. Here's what you need to know. Arizona has required proof of citizenship for voter registration since 2004, but this law's been in and out of court challenges for decades. Now the justices will decide whether that requirement conflicts with federal voting laws that let people register with just a signed statement saying they're citizens. The case comes as at least a dozen other states are watching closely. Some have similar laws in the works. Supporters say it's about election security, pointing to rare cases where non-citizens tried to vote. Opponents argue it creates hurdles for legitimate voters who might not have passports or birth certificates handy. What makes this especially significant? The ruling will land right in the middle of the 2028 presidential campaign season. And with the current administration pushing for stricter voting rules nationwide, this decision could either greenlight those efforts or put up a roadblock. The court hasn't set arguments yet, but we're likely looking at a decision by next summer. Here's a striking development as America approaches its 250th birthday. New polling shows national pride has hit rock bottom. Just 28% of Americans now say they're proud of the country's democracy. That's down 14 points from less than a decade ago. The survey also found most people are pessimistic about their finances, job opportunities, and chances of buying a home. Meanwhile, celebrations aren't going smoothly. The president's big anniversary fair had major problems last weekend, with broken rides, a green reflecting pool, and sparse crowds in the sweltering heat. The numbers reveal a huge partisan split, too. There's a 56-point gap in patriotic feelings between Republicans and Democrats. Several states actually pulled out of the fair before it even started.
Political analysts are calling this a pivotal moment for the nation's identity as it reaches this historic milestone. The White House says they're working to fix the fair's issues before the big July 4th finale. The storied rivalry between the New York Yankees and the Boston Red Sox is once again taking center stage for a Sunday night baseball game. This matchup consistently captures significant attention, given the deep history and competitive nature between these two prominent American League East teams. Recently, the New York club has faced challenges against their rivals, having lost their last 3 consecutive games to the Boston team. This upcoming game is a key part of the Major League Baseball schedule, offering fans another chapter in this long-standing contest. While the historical significance of the rivalry remains, some observers note that this particular Sunday night baseball game might not carry the same intense gravitas typically associated with past encounters. The current dynamic suggests a slightly different atmosphere compared to some of the rivalry's most heated moments. For the New York team, this game presents an opportunity to break their recent losing streak against the Boston club. Conversely, the Boston team aims to continue its recent success in this head-to-head series. The outcome will undoubtedly impact the ongoing season standings and further shape the narrative of this iconic baseball rivalry.
I hear the horns, so it's time to bug out. I'm Jesse. I've been great, and those have been today's top stories, brought to you by Stripped Out News. Dive deeper on these and more at strippedoutnews.com. Go on, hit me up. Oh, wait, don't forget. Buy stuff. We're poor.